Hey, welcome to the Fantasy Football Picks and Bet Show on the Mayo Media Network. I'm your host, Laquon Jones, presented by PrizePicks.com. Make sure you guys check it out. Make sure you guys sign up using promo code MMN. You guys be set up for success. They're matching up to $100 on your first deposit. It's free money. You basically put in 50, you get 50, you put in 100, you get 100. That's how it works. Let's make some money. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys leave a comment below on what you guys think about the show. We have a great show today, and I'm joined today by the lovely stepmom Lauren. How you doing?
Oh, I'm so great. It's football, and I don't recognize anything that's happened in the NFL. What, where, who, and why. I don't even know what is going on. Other than that, I'm great. How are you?
The draft was crazy. I mean, this offseason.
Everything was crazy. It's just like what this is put everything into a blender, blend it all up, shove it all over the floor, stir it around a little bit, put it back in the blender, and then try to piece together what you thought the NFL was, and then just completely erase everything in your mind and start over.
Like so many changes, like it's hard to keep up with sometimes. It's just like who's going where, what's what, and like even with the draft, like who's trading up now? Like what is going on?
Like what's happening? It was insane. Yeah. It was fun, but it was insane. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like day two definitely was a little crazy. I wasn't home for most of it, but just getting the notifications over and over, it was just nuts. But oh my God. But we have a great show today. We're going to talk about future NFL picks, some juicy picks where we think we can make a lot of money. And then we're going to talk winners and losers. And then we're going to wrap it up with some rookie sleepers for redraft that have some day one impact that, have some opportunity on the table. But let's get into these future picks. I want to start with you. I actually looked at yours a couple times and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great.
Yeah, and I was just talking about this player as well because I am taking the under on Jalen Waddle for his receiving yards, which are 1,050 and a hook. It's one of those things where you're like, ooh, but it's right at that line. However, they have the new addition of Tyreek Hill, which really hampers his target share. Because it's Tua Tagovailoa. Not that I'm saying that he's a terrible quarterback. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Don't at me. Everything's fine, but he is not Patrick Mahomes. So there is a very serious issue. Not to mention that there are a lot of other mouths to feed in that offense as well. Yes. So because that line is so good, if we were looking at a vacuum, we're not. We have a lot of things that are coming into this new Miami Dolphins team. So I'm going to take the under on this one. I don't like it, because I think Jalen Waddle has so much potential, but in reality here, I'm going to have to be, reality, realistic, lots of realsies going on here under Jalen Waddle.
I'm definitely with you on it. And I definitely agree with Tyreek Hill there. It makes a whole nother dynamic to where like you look at this and like I said, I had to double take. I'm like, oh my God, this is like probably going to happen because based on Tyreek Hill, he's shown through the years of like him being an all around, short to mid and long range, obviously to be a good all around wide receiver. I mean, that ADOT has lowered, his yards, per catch has lowered as well through the years. So I definitely think Tua will try to favor Tyreek Hill as a security blanket, that veteran that's there. But Jalen Waddle, man, I can see him hitting this under and we can cash in, Lauren.
That's right. Money.
But I'm going to get to mine. Mine's is a little juicy too. A lot of people are going to, drag me for this, but I got Javonte Williams for the under for 1,100 and a hook of rushing yards. And I say this because of Melvin Gordon being there, still being a very good running back. Like we saw them split it down the middle. And I definitely feel still, Williams got a little bit of bump at the end because Melvin Gordon was hurt. So therefore, that's why that yards almost hit 1,000. But you got Melvin Gordon there, still a very good running back. What do you think about that, Lauren?
This is so full disclosure. Okay. I saw yours and I was like, because I was just talking about this with somebody else today. Pour one out for Javonte Williams, because why did you re-sign Melvin Gordon and break the hearts of fantasy managers around the world? Why? Yeah. Why? It was just absolutely heartbreaking. So I took that trend and I took that kind of idea. And that's really why Jalen Waddle stood out the most for me, because it was like, Jalen Waddle, no, why? So it's perfect. I wouldn't have thought of it. And I don't think the average casual fantasy player would remember, there shouldn't have been Melvin Gordon, but now we do have Melvin Gordon. And that really is one of the closest 50-50 timeshares that you can have. And this especially stinks for dynasty folks, of which I am not one, but I do know enough that dynasty managers specifically were very upset about this Melvin Gordon signing. I can't agree with you more on this one. And I wish it weren't true, because
Yeah.
as I was throwing the hearts up, I love Javonte Williams. I really want him to succeed in real football, but for fantasy purposes here, this is going to take the under for me. I'm 100% in agreement with you. We need to have a podcast though where we talk more about the overs, because I feel like all of mine have been the unders.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, their position sucks.
Yeah.
NFL, what are you doing? But like, that's where we're at now. It's
That's
weird.
really where we're at. Like the NFL is crazy right now. And like
Yeah.
moves like this, they really affect, that player. And like,
Oh,
man, it broke a lot of fantasy managers' hearts, but just one more year, we just gotta wait. Melvin Gordon might not be there next year, but we might end up right back in the same situation we're in now. So no promises, people, but definitely the under we're going to smash here. I mean, Jalen Waddle, Javonte Williams for taking the under here, and I feel like we can cash in big on this. So go ahead, promo code MMN, go get that money, double it up. Let's make some cash. Now we're going to move on to the NFL draft winners and losers. And I chuckle a little bit with yours, but we're going to get to yours in a little bit with the losers. But let's start off with some of the winners. I mean, I literally was like looking at this draft, day 1 and 2. I'm like, man, a lot of crazy moves, but some guys that snuck through as a winner that we were like really worried about going into the draft. But my first winner here is Saquon Barkley. The Giants killed the draft. They were like one of the top 3 teams that had such a great draft in their selections. But I was really worried about them taking a top prospect running back with, Saquon Barkley's, nasty injury history. So them not taking a running back was great for Saquon Barkley. And I definitely feel as though his bounce back season is upon us. It's going to happen. He just had unlucky, injury, last season, but we're looking at a bounce back season with Saquon Barkley for full workload. And I definitely feel as though he came out as a winner just because the Giants didn't invest in him and he's on a contract year. He wants to cash in. I don't know what a Saquon Barkley contract looks like, but I really think he's going to be there for a long time.
Oh, I love it. And I absolutely love this because I think he probably is the winner when it comes to what the Giants did in the draft. Because just like you said, the accidents, shall we call them, not like Tanya Harding style accidents, like, to Nancy Kerrigan, but like it's almost like the universe was trying to do that. Who rolls their ankle and then turns it into like the size of a basketball? Like there was something weird in the atmosphere going on for poor Saquon Barkley. And it's not like this is an injury history of a lingering problem like a hamstring or a quad, Christian McCaffrey. Anyway, I digress.
Leave him alone.
I know. Fool me once, he'll be fooling me thrice and whatever the words are. I don't even care because you got to take them. I don't even care, whatever. Yeah. But Saquon Barkley, I think, just like you said, is going to have an excellent year based on the moves that they're making, not just the Giants organization, but he himself. He has a chip on his shoulder. He is so tired of having that moniker, that scarlet letter on his chest, if you will, of like, oh, he's injury prone. Like, I mean, who falls upstairs? Saquon Barkley probably could, and it's not his fault. Okay. It's fate. So I have a feeling that this is going to be his year. 100% agree. I think he is one of the biggest winners coming out of the draft for sure, especially with a beefed up offensive line. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And Daniel Jones, who still sucks too, by the way. So
you just had to throw that in there.
Had to. Sorry, Giants fans.
Let's get into your winner. I definitely think this team was like one of the top 5 teams that actually hit nail on the head with their drafts.
Oh, mine had absolutely nothing to do with who they actually drafted at all. Yeah. Their move that made them win from the draft was what they did outside of the draft, which was to get AJ Brown. Like let me just give y'all a quick little anecdote here. So I'm on my back porch. I'm watching the draft. Someone asked a question. He doesn't really know a ton about football, but he's an Eagles fan. He's like, who's this AJ Brown guy? And I'm like, only one of the best. And I just kind of like went off and I was like, by the way, why? He's like, oh, he's just with the Eagles. And I'm like, I could have thrown things. Yeah. I blacked out. I don't know what happened. So I had this moment of like, oh my God, this sucks for fantasy for a lot of reasons, but this is amazing for the Eagles. This is incredible for the Eagles with a banged up Devonta Smith. Is it Devontae or Devonta? I can never get that one right.
Devontae, we'll go with that one.
We'll go with Devontae Smith. So banged up Smith, we'll just leave it at that. Mediocre to poor run game with, Miles Sanders and whatever they're doing, running back by committee. Okay, but this is now the chance for Jalen Hurts. So this skyrockets Jalen Hurts, but in my opinion, this really hurts AJ Brown, but I still think that the Eagles as a team for real football we're the winners in this. Fantasy wise, this throws Jalen Hurts into a new tier. And if he doesn't get it done now, kind of similar to Tua Tagovailoa that we've talked about
Yes,
before, if they
I
don't get it
agree.
done this year, you're out and it's going to be start over.
Yeah, I definitely think, to piggyback off of that, my other winner was Jalen Hurts. And I definitely think the addition of AJ Brown puts him in a whole dynamic. Like, you have to go downfield now. You have to be able to get the job done. And I definitely think with this duo at wide receiver, there's really no excuses. I mean, they signed, Carson Strong at the end of the draft. As, they wanted to get a quarterback eventually, but they got him for cheap, basically. So they're bringing him in for competition. I'm really not too worried about him, but I still feel as though Jalen Hurts is a top 5 lock. I mean, he finished QB6 last season. I mean, now you give him AJ Brown. If he doesn't finish inside the top 5, I don't know what's going to have to get the job done. So he's a winner. The Eagles are a winner.
I agree. Sneaky pickup in redraft leagues as well. He's going to fall in the drafts because of all the flashier names that are going to be going a little bit ahead of Jalen Hurts. But also don't forget, there's Dallas Goedert, who's still a freak phenom at the tight end position. Lots of mouths to feed, which kind of stinks for them, except for Dallas Goedert. Yeah. But this is excellent for Jalen Hurts, who also has excellent legs. I said excellent like 4 times, but it's just super excellent all around.
He's great. But let's get into some of these losers. I'm going to start off with one of my guys that I feel as though I was praying that he was going to come out as a winner. I was praying that he'll get the chance. The Bills started trusting him as a running back. The last 6 games, he finished RB6. Devin Singletary is one of the biggest losers out of the draft.
Never fall for a Bills running back. Never. Don't do it. Don't do it, Laquon. I know we've talked about this before. We've talked about this before, and I know you like Devin Singletary, and I was pounding the table, wailing, gnashing of teeth, and I told you, don't ever trust a Bills running back.
It looked like they were trusting him. It looked like they were going to give him a shot. It's so unfortunate that they got James Cook, and he's coming in as like the PPR guy, like his route running, his catching ability. He has that home run ability in open space. With very shifty. I definitely love everything about what he put on tape. So he's coming in big. He's coming in as a playmaker, and I can't wait to see this offense. With Josh Allen dumping it off to him or whatever the case may be, lining him up in a slot. He can play out wide as well, which is great too. So, man, Devin Singletary, he had his run the last 6 games, but yeah, it came to a halt.
That's all I'll say about that.
Well, let's get to yours. That made me chuckle a little bit. Let's get to your losers.
Yeah, so my losers from the draft are all of the fantasy managers that think that they ever had any confidence in wide receivers for the 2022 season. Just tear it all up. Unless your name is Cooper Kupp, congratulations. But other than that, tear it up, throw it away, burn it. I don't know, pray to heathen gods. I have no idea, but we have no friggin' clue what is going on with the wide receivers. I can speak, I promise. What is going on with the wide receivers? Lots of W's there. After Cooper Kupp, we just don't. Like, it's a hot mess. Everything is a mess because like you could move people in or out. You can move things up or down when it comes to these rankings, but no, there's so many questions. There's so many problems here. The silver lining I will give to all of my fantasy folks out there is that this is actually a good thing because a lot of these wide receivers are likely going to be falling in the draft, which means do not let your running backs, which their tier just drops into the abyss, into like Dante's Inferno. I called it Hades earlier today. It'll drop way down there. So you can wait on your wide receivers because there should be a healthy dose of very decent names that are in there. And then you can worry about your running backs a little bit earlier. But this is very difficult for fantasy analysts who have to try to rank these players and then give some kind of judge of do I pick this guy? Do I pick that guy? I don't know. Put their name on a dartboard, close your eyes and throw. I mean, that's really what we have going. There's so many new dynamics, new situations, new coaching changes, new schemes. All of these different things are just mind-blowing. And I think the one that hurt me the most when it comes to fantasy impacts across the board was Devontae Adams' move to the Raiders. That is devastating for a lot of reasons, but that is neither here nor there. My main loser out of the draft are fantasy managers who had any, inkling that they knew what was going on, because you don't.
You don't. No one does. You really don't. And it gets messy like once after you get past Cooper Kupp, because you're like, I can put this guy there, but they haven't.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Okay, next. mix
What
them all
else?
up in the blender.
and,
Bring the
and literally, even with that debate with Justin Jefferson and Chase, it can literally go either way. You're
go
just
either
sitting there
way.
like, oh my God. But at
Either way.
least
And
we
then
know Cooper
Devontae
Kupp is
Adams is
headed
in his
off.
own tiny little world. Like, okay, yeah, you could finish as the wide receiver one. If Derek Carr suddenly turns into Aaron Rodgers, yeah, good luck. What? No, I'm sweating right now. That's how upset I am with this whole situation.
Fingers crossed for
Bad.
those guys off in Vegas, and hopefully things.
And then what do we do with DeAndre Hopkins? What do people do with Rondale Moore? What are you gonna what's that whole situation gonna look like?
Rondale Moore
AJ Green
is just,
suddenly looks impressive. He's like 87. And we're like,
yeah.
oh, he's viable now. Like, oh, what's happening?
Rondale Moore, really quick. We'll touch on him really quick. He's basically Andy Isabella. Like, just leave it at that. We're just not going to talk about Rondale Moore as a threat, as a guy. We're just not going to talk about him because he's not going to be that relevant because Cliff Kingsbury can't utilize him correctly. I mean, that's just what it is. So I'm not really a big fan of Rondale Moore, but
as long as we agree never to talk about Bills running backs again, I'm in.
Oh my God.
I do love Cook,
You're gonna kill me for that.
I do love Cook, though, so I will quickly go back on this statement in like 2 weeks.
Oh my God. But yeah, let me get to my last loser. This was such a surprise on the day 2 draft. Breece Hall to the Jets just had everybody in shambles, and Michael Carter was probably one of the biggest losers after draft day because it was just like, wait, the Jets did what? And the Jets are already killing the draft before this pick. They're already hitting on every area that they need. And then they add Breece Hall to that. Yeah, they won the draft. They won the draft, and Michael Carter became the biggest loser.
And I agree with you there. I was heavily drinking when I heard this news. So when I woke up the next day and I was like, did that really happen? And I did have to go and look because I'm like, who made a deal with the devil to do this well in the draft? What's happening right now?
I don't know. They really killed it. And I was really surprised about this pick. And like the pick was,
I give it up to Robert
well
Saleh too. I really want to see what they're going to do, not just for our fantasy pieces that we're concerned about here, because I do like Zach Wilson as well. I think he should take a pretty significant step forward. Not anything where I'm telling you like, go out and draft him because he's amazing, but just keep your eye on him, especially in Dynasty. But it's going to be interesting to see.
It really is. This is going to be exciting.
Do something. I'm excited. I'm excited as
well.
The
entire division is going to be something to watch for because it can just flip and it's crazy. And I definitely think Zach Wilson is another guy who should be stepping forward. He really doesn't have that many excuses. And I really like how he finished the season.
Yes.
But the way he started was a little shaky, but there's a lot of things.
You tried being Abercrombie model quarterback for the Jets, like in that disaster of a new season with a new head coach. I mean, I am so sorry, Zach, but you are adorable.
So fingers crossed, these guys get it together. And sorry for Michael Carter, believers, truthers, but I think it's over. You know what I mean? I kind of think the writing was on the wall once you're splitting time with Ty Johnson, Tevin Coleman. Like him and Ty Johnson have the same amount of targets. So you're splitting carries and you're splitting targets out of the backfield. I think the writing was on the wall that he wasn't the guy. So it's like I'm surprised about this pick, but then I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And it is devastating because I know a lot of Michael Carter truthers. I might be one of them.
Yeah, I have one share, but we're good to go. So let's jump into our last segment where we're going to be talking about rookie sleepers. I'll probably take this head on. Just want to get your input on what you think about these situations as well. But this is redraft. I want to say happy redraft season. It's officially redraft season. So everything we'll be talking about is redraft. So
yeah, it's redraft season when I'm here. Like, because I don't do you dynasty people are weirdos. I love you, but you're weirdos.
You're hilarious.
Aren't you so happy to have me back?
Yes. Double
rookies,
trouble,
continue.
Let's get into these rookies. So the first rookie I want to highlight right now, it may seem like I'm acting like a homer, but Kyren Williams, man, going to the LA Rams, a running back, a prospect that was really not that much talked about. And he's an all-around back. He's good in pass protection. He has that home run ability. He's definitely shifty. And he has the mindset that first guy he sees, they're going to eat dirt. And I love that. I love that mindset from him. And he seems like just a Sean McVay guy that's really smart with football. He knows what he's doing. He has that passion and love. So he's definitely a Sean McVay guy. And I really think he can get into rotation between Hendo and Akers, being that they have nasty injury histories. I mean, every time we see Henderson take the full workload, he ends up hurt. He ends up on IR. And Akers is coming back from a serious injury. The Achilles is nothing to really joke about. It was amazing for him to come back so fast, but when you look at that playoff run, he really didn't have that many opportunities. He really didn't have that great of a yards per carry. It was actually terrible, you know what I mean? But I really feel as though, with these guys having that injury history, Kyron Williams can step in to have a day one impact. It might not be week 1, 2, 3, or 4, but he can come in and make some noise to be as in rotation for this 1-2 punch that, Sean McVay's desperately trying to get.
Yeah, I agree with you there. The only thing that I'm going to say is what I'll say to every single rookie on this is that he is going to be meaningless for redraft.
Yes. Last pick.
Fabulous handcuff.
Last pick.
Handcuff, excuse me.
Listen, all these guys will be your last pick, or another guy I
Yes.
wouldn't talk about. He could be eventually, one of the mid to late round guys. But my next guy I'm going to talk about is David Bell. Cleveland Browns desperately need help at wide receiver. I mean, Amari Cooper's there, and then you got Donovan Peoples-Jones with a question mark. Is he really the wide receiver too? But David Bell steps into the role that can possibly be a supporting role, especially when you have an elite quarterback like Watson, but we still don't know how many games he's going to play. But still, something like having Watson as your quarterback to develop you as a NFL wide receiver, that's definitely a leg up on a lot of different guys. I mean, you can have Zach Wilson. You can have, quarterbacks like Marcus Mariota at this point trying to develop you. But I definitely feel as though David Bell steps into a role where he's a great guy to make, good catches, clutch catches. He's a reliable receiver. He's not a speedster, not a big body wide receiver. He's just one of those guys that can get the job done when you need him. And you can always rely on guys like that.
Sure. Not in redraft.
This guy, you can look. This next guy, I definitely feel.
I do have a rookie though that I like that I'm actually going to draft, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna break all of my principles of life when it comes to this one, dude. Go ahead.
Hold on, we'll get to him in a second. I'm really curious of who you're going to say. I think we're probably thinking about the same person. But Tyler Algier, Atlanta Falcons already cut Mike Davis, so he's stepping into a role where the door's wide open for him to have this top job, to have this RB1 job. So he's one of those guys that's going in those later rounds where he could possibly be, a day one starter, a day one guy, a day one impact. So in redraft, we're honestly talking about in those later rounds. We're talking in rounds later. These are your RB4s and RB5s at this point. And I definitely feel as though you can get a steal here if everything works out and shapes out right for him to be the starting running back. So I definitely like him.
Yeah, I do agree with you there on that one. Mine is I have a rule, and I had a rule for a long time until Amon-Ra St. Brown came around and broke my life when it comes to never, ever, ever have a Detroit wide receiver on your team. Don't. They go to Detroit to die. But unfortunately, I was proven wrong. So I love Jameson Williams. Now, if you have a very deep bench, sure, you can grab him in your last round of your drafts if you want to. He is most likely going to be a waiver wire pickup. We need to keep an eye on his health. So I think a lot of people are going to be overlooking him anyway, but I'm very excited to see what he brings to the table in Detroit. He is the one rookie that I am very excited about is Williams.
Yeah, he can come in and make some noise. And to be fair with Amon St. Brown on your rule, he didn't get popping until guys that were actually meaningful got hurt. And then
you want to know why? Jared Goff.
There you go.
The end.
There you go.
The end.
So when you force fed, I'm not going to take away any of Amon-Ra, talent. He's a great, wide receiver. He's a very talented wide receiver. But when you force feed a talented wide receiver, you're likely to get these results. You know what I mean? If you're constantly playing from behind as well. So you're constantly going to keep throwing him the ball. So I feel as though I need to see him do this with Swift on the field, with TJ Hawk on the field. And hey, Jameson Williams on the field as well. So I need to see all these. And DJ Chark is there as well. How can we forget about him?
Oh, I am going to bring that up in several weeks. He is one of my huge sleepers when it comes to this. So if Jared Goff can make Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods a thing from when he was with the Rams, he sure as heck can do something with DJ Chark and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. And you want to know what this means, everybody? It means TJ Hawkinson is finally not going to be the focus of every single defense's attention. So this is awesome for TJ
Opens
Hawkinson.
Everything up. This is great. This is awesome. I love these rookies. I definitely think, these guys you should definitely have on your radar. I definitely love them, Lauren. We're going to come back and we're going to be talking about at least 2 out of the 3 guys I mentioned. I guarantee it.
Oh, I'm sure we will. I just have no faith. I'm very bitter. I'm just like, ew, no, I don't know you. No.
Yeah.
You're not in my squad.
I haven't seen you play yet. So no.
I don't like it.
I love it. But this has been a great show. I mean, we flew through this, and I love always working with you, Lauren. This has been great. I mean, welcome back.
I have missed y'all. And actually, just so everybody out there knows, Laquon is actually like, why did I sign up for this? Like working with Lauren. I'm just kidding.
No,
We always
I
have
love
so
it.
much fun on this show. That's why it's so great.
Always. Yeah, so I want to thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mayo Media Network, and make sure you guys check out PrizePicks.com. Sign up today, promo code MMN, and you guys will be set up for success. Like I said, they're matching up to $100 on your first deposit. You put in 50, you get 50. You put in 100, you get 100. It's free money. Why miss out on the opportunity? And we'll see you guys again for another great episode. Peace.